random Thursday, car's in the shop. I had PTO hours. Kids aren't home from school yet. I figured what better to do with a little bit of my time than make a quarter season check-in in the Mamba Football League. Now, I know we're past the quarter point in the season, but there's an 18-week schedule now. Is it week 6? Is it, I don't know, that's a third of the way through. But if you guys remember, you can't market a third-pound burger because Americans think a quarter-pound burger is bigger than the third-pound burger because the 4 is bigger than the 3, even though in fractions it's the opposite. But we're all idiots, and we love our stars and stripes and burgers. But this isn't about America or burgers. This is about Madden and the Mamba Football Academy. Let's check in, see what's going on here. I think we already have some surprises, not so much in the NFC, but definitely in the AFC. If we look right away at this playoff race, we've got the Titans and the Bills at the top of the AFC. I don't think many people would have put 2 newer users at the top of the AFC playoff race this early in the season. However, the Colts are trying to make hay and kind of catch the Titans there in the AFC South. There was a mishap earlier in the season where Colts was supposed to get a force over Titans, so that honestly would have flipped things, and we'll see how that goes. Mowgli should be back here soon. His CPU Ravens are hanging on tight right now. They've gotten a couple force losses. They have, pretty much, if they've not been forced, I think they're undefeated playing people. I know I lost to him. I think Billy lost to him with the football team. So the Ravens CPU has been just fine. We do know, we're used to it now. It's up to a 17 playoffs, and the Bengals are that last team in. As you can see right now in the AFC North looks to be kind of the toughest division. You got the Browns, you got the Bengals, and you got the Steelers, all there right that 3-2 range. That one looks like it's going to be a battle to the end, and we'll get into the divisions in a second. But right now, we do have some surprises at the top of the AFC with the Titans and the Bills. Kudos to them for starting off their seasons fresh. Right on the bubble, we got the Texans, who just did lose this week, the Chiefs, and the Browns, obviously. Tank started off hot. I believe he was either 3-0 or 2-0, and then he lost 2. And then he's won his last 2, I believe. So I think he was 2-0, went to 2-2, and now he has gone back up to 4-2. Over in the NFC, not as many surprises. I think a lot of people expected Bucks and Eagles to be among the best teams in that division. Giants has been away for a while, so a lot of his games have been simmed or forced lost, but he's back now. I think he just got the win against the Rams. Yes, he did indeed, 40-6. So they are back on the upswing, but he may already be too far behind in division, and we will look at that in a second. But right now, big game this week too between the Bucks and the Eagles. Excited to see when that one kicks off. You've got the Vikings, secondhand Jackal, whatever the hell he's going by now, doing very, very well. They did start off the season, I believe, 2-0. He came in, got absolutely curb stomped by the CPU Seahawks, and then has won every game since. And I think he's set up for another force this week because Tom unceremoniously dropped out. R.I.P. Kami Tommy, you will be missed. So we got to kind of see what's going on here in the NFC. It's already starting to quote the Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream rises to the top, brother. And if you haven't seen that, was a little bit, I don't know what that was. It wasn't Macho Man. It wasn't Hulk Hogan. It was this weird mishmash. I got to work on my impersonations. So we've already got, 5-0, 4-1, 4-1. Vikings going to be 5-1, and then right below that you got the Rams at 3-3. Packers, who I believe are trying to shop Aaron Rodgers, but are also playing him. So I'm curious to see how that works out for him. He looks like he's in control there of his own destiny, and we'll see if he can overtake the Vikings when they play one another. They play later in the season. Then you got the Bears right behind them. So the AFC North and the NFC North both seem to be kind of these congested divisions that will be the end. Right now you got the Cardinals at 2-4 actually in position for a playoff berth if it were to start today. Obviously we got a lot of season to play. Right below them you got the Niners, you got the Saints, and you got the Falcons, who just had to take a forced loss against the Jets, and that is one of the surprises. One, that Steph has the wrong break in his tag, and no one's teased him about that. That's kind of been a big surprise that he has like a homophone. And no, Tank, that's not a gay word. That's just a word that's spelled the same but sounds differently, where it's all gas, no brakes, like it's brakes like a car, like BRAKE, not like you broke a bone. So there's my little teacher wisdom for the day. Change it. But we got here in these divisions, let me go to the actual No, that's the rookies. Let me go to the actual division standings here. In the AFC East, you got the Bills at the top, kind of taking already, not insurmountable, but a pretty firm grasp of they're 1-0 in the division. They already have a full 2-game lead. They have the best point differential, by far the only positive point differential at 30 in the division. The Patriots have a minus 41 point differential, but a 2-3 record. Whereas if you look at the Jets, they're a minus 9 point differential and still only 2-3. So there's a lot to be going on there. I know. The Finns has been on auto as well, so I'm curious to see how that plays out for him throughout the rest of the season. I know he lost Tua, he lost Xavier Howard. He's gotten hammered by some of these sim injuries, and all I can say to that is, guys, you've got, it shows how important it is to play your games. You're going to get injuries when you play your games, but you're probably going to get way fewer injuries than you would if you sim your games. Out west, right now I am at the top of the division, but it is by no means settled. You got me and the Raiders this week, which will kind of put one of us in first place in the division. He's 2-3, I'm 3-2. Obviously, it's a bigger win for him. I've not played a division game yet. He's already 1-0. Chiefs already 1-0 in the division. Chargers 0-2, looking to turn things around. They got a minus 90 point differential. The Raiders are in the positive with a 5-point point differential. So should be a good game this week between me and him. We'll see if Chiefs can kind of get a turnaround. He seems to play those types of games where he either blows teams out or teams blow him out. So that explains the point differential on his end a little bit. I know he's thrown a lot of picks with Mahomes. He'll try to get that turned around, I'm sure, going forward. Tank, with his win this week, is in the lead in his division. Right now, he has no division games played. The Steelers is 1-0 in the division. So at the end of this week, if the Steelers wins, he will be back on top. As we mentioned, Mowgli should be in either tonight or tomorrow. I believe he'll be into the league. And then we got Legend at 3-2 as well. So every team in the AFC North is above 500. That's going to be a battle, and we'll see how many of them can get into the playoffs. You got to imagine they're looking to get 3 of the 4 into the playoffs, which would be a huge kind of, chip to put a trophy on the mantle to say, hey, we are in the best division in the AFC. Over in the South, you got a pretty solid division, but the Jags and the Texans rosters are just so bad. So I'm curious to see how, as these users progress their teams, they get better. Like, it looks like already the Jags and Texans are playing for the future. I believe Texans is playing Felipe Franks at quarterback, trying to move Deshaun Watson. Obviously, you got Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne. CJ Henderson is gone, so I know the Jags are going to have to try to find some answers in the secondary. I don't know what Tyson Campbell's rating is. I know he's a rookie. I know he's young, but you'll have to. I'm curious to see what the Jags try to do to kind of fill some of those holes. He's got Clavon Chase on, he's got Josh Allen, he's got Miles Jack. So he's got the makings of a really good defense, but I know he's got to try to find some other pieces to kind of match up. So I'm curious to see how that roster gets built. Curious to see how the Texans roster get built, because they actually, I think they're back now to having all of their draft picks. So we'll see how he does that going forward. Colts and the Titans, it looks like it's going to be a battle between the two of them. If they can both kind of stay where they are, with their trajectory, they can both probably make the playoffs and knock one of these maybe AFC North teams out. And you got to think, if they can both be in that, 10-7, 11-6 range, that they both should be able to make the playoffs. So it looks like that's going to be a 2-team playoff division. Right now, the AFC West and the AFC East looking like a 1 playoff team division, although there are plenty of weeks to get this all turned around. In the NFC, we got the Eagles, who we already talked about. They're playing the Bucs this week in one of the biggest showdowns. You got Washington has turned it around of late. I know they started slow, but they're back to 2-3. The Giants just got a win to get to 2-4. They were 1-4. He's been on auto for a while, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I think the Eagles are already far enough ahead that they can, unless tragedy happens, they can kind of just run the inside zones and run the drags and take themselves to the playoffs. I kid my fellow commissionate, but we don't want to get into all of that again. But no, the Eagles are definitely in position in the driver's seat there in the NFC East. That goes without saying. Out west, the Niners, Cardinals, and Seahawks are all trying to get to the Rams, who are right now ahead, but they just lost. So that division is wide open. You're probably going to, it looks like, just based on records, you're only going to get one out of the NFC West. But right now, it's take your pick. I believe right now you've got the Cardinals at 2-0 in the division. So even though they're 2-4 and a game behind the Rams, they seem to have a leg up right now, since they are undefeated in the division. And when you're, breaking it down as to who's going to win the division, if you can go 6-0, 5-1 in the division, that's going to benefit you, so long as you can win some other games along the way. Already mentioned the North, the Packers, the Vikings, the Bears, all 3-2. Lions, 2-3. I believe that the Lions. Let me go all the way up here. Should be in the banner. I think the Lions. No, it's Green Bay and Chicago, so that's a huge game. And Detroit plays Cincy, so that's not as huge of a game for either team because if you lose cross conference, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, you want to win every game, but if you lose cross conference, not the end of the world because the tiebreakers go obviously division then conference. So since those teams are out of your conference, it's not nearly as, detrimental to the rest of your season. So the Lions they don't want to get too far behind, but this is not like must-win season for them yet. They are 0-3 in the division, so they've really got to get up to the level of the Vikings, the Packers, and the Bears, although they do obviously have the worst roster. I'm curious to see. Let me see if he is playing. I would imagine he's playing Goff, or is he starting someone else? Let's see. No, he is going with Jared Goff, and Goff has 12 TDs, 7 INTs. So actually not terrible for our league because I know some guys already have almost 30 interceptions. So he's playing pretty well as a 94 quarterback rating. Curious to see how that develops as well. Obviously, they're one of the lesser rosters in the league. Then in the NFC South, you got the Bucs already starting to run away with things. 5-0. They might come back down to earth. They do play the Eagles in what could be a you don't think of a week 6, week 7 matchup as, this could be, important down the road, but this one could be. It could determine home field advantage. So this is going to be a huge game for the Bucs and the Eagles, kind of going forward in the NFC playoff race. It looks like between the Saints, the Falcons, and the Panthers. The Panthers just went to CPU, as I mentioned, so they're probably going to be taking some forced losses. Got to imagine they're going to be at the bottom, and then it'll be between Falcons and Saints to kind of try to battle it out and see who can get, keep it close with the Bucs because you don't want the team running away with it and then they can kind of coast from there and rest some starters. So if you put a gun to my head, playoffs, AFC, I will go Bills, I will go Broncos, I will go Steelers, and I will go Colts in that order for the divisions. Your wild card teams, you now have actually 3 wild card teams, and then the 1 seed gets a bye. I am going to go Browns, Browns, Titans, and we will go Patriots or Jets. I mean, like, Steph's roster's pretty bad. The Patriots roster's not great either. I know he's trying to upgrade wide receiver. Steph just needs help all around. He's got to stop throwing interceptions with Wilson, which everyone's having issues with interceptions. And yes, we are looking at the stats. We're looking at the sliders. They will come down most likely beginning of next season. We don't want to tweak anything mid-season. So I'm going to go. Let me see. I already went Browns for a wild card. I'm going to go Titans for the second wild card. And then third wild card, that's going to be a tight one. It's going to be Ravens, Bengals, Jets, Patriots. There's going to be a lot of teams battling it out for that third wild card. But I will give, since the Patriots beat the Jets heads up, right now I will give the nod to the Patriots. And then you got to worry about the Bengals and Ravens or the Jets. So I would say those teams in the AFC, you're going to have probably a 10-team race the entire season. It's going to be a tight one. It's going to be jumbled in the AFC. I don't think it's there's as many tiers as there are in the NFC. The NFC, there's a clear upper echelon of probably 3 to 4 teams, and then everything else is more jumbled. The AFC seems to be more a level playing field, and I think steel sharpens steel, as they say. I'm curious to see how that plays itself out in the AFC as the seasons progress, because I do think there's probably a solid 12 to 14 users. You're going to see some teams make the playoffs one year, not make it the next. I don't think you'll see as many this guy wins the division every single season, whereas in the NFC, I think you will see that much more often. Right now, obviously, you got the Eagles probably winning the East. Out West, I have no clue. I will give the nod right now to the Cardinals just because they're 2-0 in the division. I know they're 2-4, and they're probably going to be close to last place in the division. You got to think the Seahawks are going to take a lot more forced losses going as people, start to say, screw playing the computer. I'd rather get the win. I want to get in playoff position. I think more teams will take the force win against the Seahawks, so they're going to drop down. Niners, they're playing Trey Lance a lot. They're playing Trey Sermon a lot. They are obviously geared more toward the future, so we'll see kind of how that goes. They're averaging under 20 a game. They're also letting up under 20 a game, so their defense has been really, really good. And we'll kind of see where that goes for them this season. But right now, I would give it to the Cards. In the North, I'm going to actually go with Jackal, with the Vikings taking that division. And we'll see how that plays out, because this week we got Nick versus OJ Slashed Me, which is the best name in the league, by the way. So we'll have Nick and the Packers taking to see who can kind of gain control of their own destiny, so to speak. Vikings are going to be 5-1, so it's it's pretty important for the Packers to get to 2-0 in the division, knock the Bears down a peg down to 3-3. That's going to be one that we're definitely looking forward to. NFC has some big matchups. We already talked about the Bucs and the Eagles. So here I'm obviously going to take the Bucs. I'm not certain if one of these other two teams, the Saints and the Falcons, can get into that wild card contention, but we'll see going forward. I think you're going to have three from the North make it. So you're going to have Packers, Vikings, Bears are going to be three that go. I think Vikings are going to win it. Packers and Bears as your wild card teams. Bucks there. We got room for one other wild card team. I don't know that it's going to come from the West. We'll see if the Giants, Cowboys, or football team can turn it around. It's going to be that last wild card spot's going to be crazy in the out in the NFC. The AFC, I think, is going to be a battle for the last two. The NFC is going to be that last one wild card spot that looks like it's going to be a battle. And right now, I would give it to, I'd say the leader in the clubhouse is probably the Rams, but he's got to watch out for, like I said, the Giants, the Cowboys, and the football team, one of those NFC East teams. But right now, I would go Cardinals, Rams out of the West, NFC North, you're going to go Packers, Vikings, Bears, Bucks out of the South, and then Eagles out of the East. And we will see how that changes going forward. Let's look at some of the individual stats. You got Derek Carr right now leading the league in passing, and the Raiders have not. They may have played an extra game, but who really cares at this point? So you got Derek Carr leading the league right now in passing yards. Miles Sanders, no surprise there. He's got 4 superstar offensive linemen. Miles Sanders is going to run the ball down your throat, no matter what plays he picks, whether it's I-form, whether it's shotgun, whether it's ace single back, whatever it is. Trust me, Miles Sanders is going to run on you. It's going to be frustrating, but him, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, those guys who, one, either are X factors or two, have an insane offensive line in front of them, are going to run the ball. It's just going to happen. You're going to have to try your best to stop it. I believe the Eagles only put up 16 points in that game, where I know that the play calling was an issue, but it was not like suspension level egregious. It's something we've talked about, something we're going to work on trying to vary more, but it was not suspension level egregious. One of the least surprising things is that Tank is finding a fast rookie wide receiver, and he's getting some yardage. Now, this looks bad right now. It's 579, but if you go up here, you can see Tank's already played an extra game. That's why DeAndre Hopkins and Schwartz are at the top of the list. Gronkowski's been getting a ton of passes. Fant's been getting a ton of passes for me. He's out. Moritz Boringer, another, I believe, German tight end, right? Yeah, number 9. Look at that. His trade value is a 7th round pick, but the guy's kind of fast. 86 speed, 90. I believe he was like at one point, I think he was like a D end, and then he switched over to tight end. But he's got, like, look at these friggin' like an athletic freak. 86 agility, 90 jump, 86 speed, 90 acceleration. So really solid player. He's already at 460 yards on the season, and he's just kind of been one of the bigger surprises on the season. Interceptions. Darius Slay has been crushing it for the Eagles. He sits in that that flat zone, either it's C2 or like a cloud 3, whatever it is. He sits in that flat zone, and he's probably got 3 or 4 pick sixes. He's going to be, when the list comes out, the leader in the clubhouse for DB of the year, defensive MVP. Von Miller is no longer with the Broncos. I don't know why that says Denver. He's not with Denver. I've updated the rosters. Yeah, he's with the Jets. He's been doing much better with the Jets than he was with me. Like, he was getting some sacks for me. Look here. Got a sack. But then once he goes to the Jets, he's got 2 against Tennessee, 2 against Atlanta, which was a computer simmed game, but he still got 2 sacks. So you got Von Miller, Mario Addison, Yannick Ngakoue, Jadeveon Clowney, Jaron Reed. Surprised not to see Myles Garrett, honestly, because Garrett is he just bowls people over when I watch a couple of those games, and I played Tank in like that little inaugural tournament, and Garrett just literally runs through people. It's kind of crazy to watch. Von Miller, same way. He's got that power rush. Darius Leonard leading the league in tackles. One of the surprises here is you've got Darnay Holmes, who I believe is a rookie with the Giants. No, he's 1 year in. Sorry, 1 year in. Really doing well. 91 speed, 5'10", so taller, faster guy, and you like to see that if you're the Giants. That's how you develop guys. They have a good season, and you keep it going. We do have a ton of interceptions, but Darius Slay, like I said, has had, that I've seen just on the streams, at least 3 or 4 touchdowns. I would say he's 100% the leader in the clubhouse for MVP. Miles Sanders got to be up there for Offensive Player of the Year. Derek Carr is going to be up there for Offensive Player of the Year. As far as like the AFC, NFC, obviously Von Miller's going to be up there for Defensive Player of the Year in the AFC if he keeps these sacks up. Anthony Schwartz looking like he's going to be a Rookie of the Year in the AFC, no doubt. Could be Mac Jones. He's got a lot of INTs, and the record's not great for New England, but if he can get that record up and keep it up with Mac will definitely push Anthony Schwartz. Najee Harris has a lot of receiving yards as well. He's got 378, leading all rookie rushers. Let me see what he's got receiving-wise. So he's got, let's see, receiving yards 91, 8, 11, 53. Off the top of my head, you're probably looking at close to 200, maybe like 170, 180 right there. So another 200 yards. He's already at almost 600 all-purpose yards doing that. So he could be a sneaky one that could sneak in for Rookie of the Year. But right now it's Anthony Schwartz and everyone else for AFC Rookie of the Year. In the NFC, looks like you got Rashad Bateman, that's Baltimore. I thought that said Dallas. I need to get my eyeglasses cleaned. What the heck's going on here in the NFC? There's no wide receivers in the NFC. We got Schwartz, Chase, Moore, Waddle, Bateman, all at the top. Let's see here. Okay, so here's a rookie. We've got Trey Sermon and Trey Lance. So it looks like the Niners are probably the leaders in the clubhouse for Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFC, and then Justin Fields right behind the two of them. So you're thinking Trey Lance, Trey Sermon, Justin Fields over in the NFC. Defensive side of the ball, for rookies, Tony Fields with 2 sacks out of Cleveland, Benjamin St. Juste in Washington. Here's the surprise right here. Jamin Davis, 4 INTs. He's looking like he's the leader for Defensive Rookie of the Year for sure in the NFC. Really solid player, 90 speed, 92 acceleration, 6'4". That's basically Tremaine Edmonds, little lighter, but 90 speed, 6'4". Anytime you have that humongous man roaming around the middle of the field, that's going to be fun to get some user lurks and picks with him. In the AFC, you're probably, it looks like it's going to be a couple different guys that it could be. Hamsa up there, I know he's got a couple of like forced fumbles and picks. He's going to be solid. Andre Cisco, he picked me, so I think he's got a few interceptions at least, or was it just against me? Nope, just the one INT against Denver. Yep, there it is. Just I was the only one handing out gifts, but you had that INT with some picks. He's going to be at least in the running. But if I had to pick an AFC Defensive Rookie of the Year, Surtain's going to be there. Fairley's going to be there. Jamin Davis is obviously it right now in the NFC, but I would say maybe Caleb Fairley, maybe Tony Fields. But right now I'd probably lean Farley. Fairley. Is it Fairley or Farley? I don't know. I've heard Fairley, but there's no I in it, so I'm going to say Farley. Caleb Farley. Chris Farley's, long lost son there. So that pretty much wraps it up. I don't know what else I can do. You guys have any suggestions, anything you want to hear? With the Madden kind of generated mock drafts, I think I may, instead of doing like my own like I used to do, I may just end up kind of going through theirs and saying, oh, I like this pick, don't like this pick, XYZ. Yada, yada. I don't know. I still haven't figured that out yet, but I do want to do something with the draft. So we'll see going forward. Anything else you guys want to hear, feel free to drop it in the chat. With that, I'm out. Broncos, Raiders later tonight. Check that out. I believe Bucks, Eagles is going to play tonight, and I will try to find out when Packers and Bears is going to happen because that's going to be another huge game there in the NFC. We out.